Well, here we are. And hello, everyone. It's coming along. Got quite a few more trees in. Right now I'm starting to do some vines and mosses here on the side of the mountain here. This section here, from about here over, all the trees are glued down. Right till about here, I got this section, and of course all this over here. They're drilled in and just placed, just so I could keep trucking on placements. And I got to go back in and glue them down. And I've been tweaking things, as you go, and adding shrubs. But getting all these vines that you see way down in there, that'll show up on the side walls. Are coming along nice. Just time consuming. But yeah, it's coming out better than I thought it would. Like I said, I'm not overly experienced with doing the landscaping. We used to do some when we were kids for our trains, the little HO trains. But I'm happy. I don't know if I showed you before, I got these little guns, turrets. They're up and placed. Those were 3D printed things I ordered. But all in all, it's coming along, so I'm going to keep trucking on doing some more of this vine stuff. We're creeping over to this side. Might probably get some down on this walls here. Want to do a wash to the building, and then we'll probably have some vines coming down on that. Got to get a little more around Master Yoda there on the other side. I just have a few here. But all in all, I'm liking it. It's coming along. Well, alright. I'm starting to get some of the mosses up in here. I got these already started. I got things going on in here. I'll show you a little bit. But let's see if I can find a nice piece. Something like that. That might be a good one over there. Let's do that one over there. And I'm actually using some Titebond, which has been working fine. It dries clear. It's also another water-soluble glue, so I can thin it down. But it's been working really good. Let's stick you right there. So we can get some of this to spin around like that. Some of the flat, it's a little more. Like that. And then what I do is take a pinch of this, and any of the glue that's still exposed, and give it a little light puff, and that covers up all that. And I'm going to probably do it on the top of this building too, on the edges and some spots. Alright, let's see if we can find another. Well, what I'm using is I had one of those fake plants. You ever get those fake plants and then they have like a pot? A lot of times they'll put foam to hold the fake plant in, and some of the smaller things might actually even stick in the foam, the fake plant. And then they usually put this mossy kind of stuff on top to hide the foam. And I keep that because it works great for vines and stuff like that, or little shrubbery and stuff. So that's what this stuff is. You probably can go to a plant, you know, like maybe even Hobby Lobbies, I would imagine, would have it, or Michael's, for doing fake plant stuff. But it works great for vines. I don't know if it's a real plant. It's sticky, like sticks, so I'm thinking it might be. But I'm not 100% sure. But it's got brownness, you know, like real plants. So I'm thinking it's some type of moss they use. I don't know if they color. I have no idea, but this is what it all looks like, and you kind of got to try to separate it. Yeah, this is what it looks like, and you got to kind of separate it out and try to get yourself some type of thing happening here. A lot of times you just get little pieces like that, which are great when you want real strategic long ones hanging down. I think if I can get that like that, but that's kind of thick there. I don't want it to be so like a glob. And it's hard because once you pull some things apart, the whole thing kind of crumbles. Sometimes it's best just to get a glue and just stick it in, and then the glue will hold it all together. So we're going to try to see if we can get this one to work here. Maybe get them a little lower. Try to get them to cover some of the doorway. We can keep it kind of like that. We're going to need more glue for this. At least spread out more here. You gotta hurry up because glue wants to run. Try to get this. Usually at the last second it wants to do something you don't want it to do. There you go. I wonder if I can get that up if I put a little dab here. Come on, glue. Nice stuff to that one. Maybe a pair of tweezers. Get that piece of stick there. That would be wonderful. Yeah. And it looks like they're looping across. And that'll work, yeah. And then you just come back in. A little bit of this. It's kind of hard on these cliffs. Sometimes you got to do a little throw. Just a little bit. And there it is. That's looking so much better. Yeah, but it's coming along. I believe I got all this side here done. Yeah, all this is done on this side. I might add little bushes here and there. I'll see some spots I would just want to gussy up. I think we got all these. And then we're going to start hitting these, flocking these big trees. But I'm glad I waited, because how many times I'm reaching to glue something and I'm bumping into them, and I don't want to disturb the flock. I want it to be nice and fluffy, because those are going to get hit with this brush stuff. We'll actually take a clump of it, and then you actually can just glue it right on top. But I think I don't remember what place on eBay I got that has all this good stuff. This is a light green brush. You can get them in different shades of green. That's where I got this burnt grass, which is really just a mixture of green and brown. Or a weird color green. Sometimes they'll mix actual green and brown. The old stuff when I was a kid was very woody. Like, it looked like, you know, so that's how we used to make it. mixing just the green and brown, make it up yourself. And then I got like this, what they call medium grass. It's like a heavier grass, or your grass that hasn't been cut. And this is in a light green. Then I have this as well. It's a little more of a darker. I might have showed you guys that before, but like I said, you know, someone was throwing out an old dried bush, plastic tree, and I was like, "Ooh, that looks like stuff," you know. So I kept it and put it in a bag for when I need it, and it's working great for mosses and vines and stuff like that. But let me show you the what we've done on the building here, on the Revell base here. Alright, there it is. I did washes, which you can kind of see some of the brown streaking. Did an overall wash and then did some streaking off the roof. Did some rust around all these parts, around that grate, up here on these, I guess you could call them vents. And then I threw a little bit of moss on those. And that's just the burnt grass to make it look like, you know, we're in a tropical area, so everything's getting wet. The back side of here, it's looking good. Like I said, these are all glued down. See if I can spin this. All this back here is done. I might do some more little detail, but at least the trees are in. We got our guys sneaking around the back. Did some rust on those control panels back there. Yeah, and added some moss. We're getting some shadowing from that tree and rust. And then we'll add some of this stuff here, streaking down the wall. Because my whole philosophy is they tried to make this building, you know, they built it into the mountain, and they wanted to kind of really blend in, so they're letting things grow on it and overgrow, and might even purposely put some stuff on top in case a scout ship flies above. You won't really see it as easily. So I just wanted to show you how I was making the vines and what I was using. But it's just tedious work. Even though I finished this here last night, I've already just started coming in here tonight, and I'm finding, you know, sometimes you gotta walk away and come back with some fresh eyes. But it's really looking cool. When you get down to especially people level, it kind of makes it neat, as you can see what their perspective is. And like what that little guy, and there's him, and what this guy's little perspective is. Honestly, one of my, you can kind of see what they're looking at. One of my favorite views, when I just move my head down, is this one here. My camera would stop fluttering and just focus. There we go. You can kind of see all the other troops, like this guy here's perspective. But yeah, adding that makes a big difference, especially having stuff hanging down in the opening of that mountain. Oh, now that I'm looking at it from this angle, like this, probably should put some mosses and stuff back in there in that cave. I really wanted it. I'm still on the fence if I don't know where I'd have it for these branches here. I wanted to make it look like the AT-AT came in and busted all those off like on this one too. But I really have nowhere to lay it down. So sometimes you just gotta stop and just move on because you can keep going. I could keep spending and adding more detail all the time. I really like that little droid, probe scout droid. There's Grogu and Quill. Quill's just sitting there yet because he's got to get sitting in the water like he's coming up the river. Gotta think of something to try to make that little post that's holding Grogu up hide a little better. I wonder if I can almost print a clear one. I think I'll just hit it with some washes and it'll hopefully blend in a little bit better. This one here I used a real small guitar string, so it's not so easy to see. And there's a better look at the cannons. The laser cannons. And this guy here calling in for more help. This Guido guy here actually had an ear break off on him. So I put a little red dot like he's wounded. Well, there it is. It's coming along. Got a lot more vines and mosses done. Trees are all glued in. I think I have this one last one here to do. Yeah. And then that shrub and that shrub. But that's going to take me a second. Got the building all kinds of mossed and vined up. All the way around. Down the other side. So, see if we can get a back view. I think I'm going to put a couple just bushes here. I was thinking about putting a big tropical plant there, but I think I'm just going to go with big bushes. I kind of like it a little bit open there. But just maybe a bush. There's the back half. And we'll touch up areas as we, as I go. I see little areas where I could put a little something there, a little something there. This will keep everything going. Like I said, we just got this one here. It's got to get glued. And then it's onto these flocking these guys. Which I think I'm just going to do a quick little how I'm doing it. Maybe on this guy. And then I'll do the rest of these off camera. Because they're going to take a while. And I have a couple more pieces of vines that I want to put on here, long ones, if I can get coming down off of it. But yeah, it's this stuff here, so if I can get the lid off here one-handed. So the sizes aren't huge, so it's going to be kind of like, probably should use a tweezer. Here's a decent. There's a decent piece. But that's what you're dealing with. And then kind of adding them on in pieces. And you can keep gluing them on top of each other too to build a bigger, tree branch. So, but maybe on these smaller ones I don't need to do so much building up. And you can even glue down the trunk. It doesn't have to be just on these ends. You can kind of glue down and make that whole thing look like a ball with a little bit of separation. But I am very happy on how it's coming out. It always starts off as a mess until it looks good. And it's kind of funny, but that's the truth. And then we'll do the water, but the water's not, I'm not doing anything fancy with the water. So I think I'm going to use just a simple clear flexi clock. I think is what we're going to do. I used it on the pond on the flying the UFO from outer space, and it works fine. Dries clear, it sticks good. You can manipulate the top, so if you want like waves, or I think I made that pond a little too wavy for its size, but still. And here we'll just make it kind of like give it a pattern of a water flow that way. I'm thinking the water's going down that way. It can go either way, but I just kind of like that vibe of it going that way. And he's coming upriver, Quill. And then that the Empire came down this way and came in. It's that whole bad guys come from the right and good guys come from the left thing that you always notice in Star Wars. Think of the Hoth scene. The Empire was coming from the right, screen right, and the good guys were screen left. It usually happens with their fighter planes too. You always see them come off screen left, the good guys, and screen right, the bad guys. So I'm kind of following that filming technique. And that's why I kind of have the Empire off to the right and then the good guys off to the left. I don't know where that came from. I was watching something about that and they said, here, we'll show you. And it's true. A lot of the scenes, battle scenes, it's always kind of in that way. And I don't know if that's something that was old school. Like a lot of the older movies did that. And Lucas kind of kept that vibe. And that style of, photography. But I'm rambling. So let's get working on these, flocking these trees. Well, the big trees are coming along. Got the flock started on these. This one here is pretty much done. I'll probably, as I always just look over things, I see things that I want to do or add a little more, but that's a good start on it. And it makes a big difference. And here's the smaller trees. I might add a little more to the tops of them to make them higher now that this base is stable. I can start stacking some of the foliage on top. Same here. I already did it on this because I did this last night and I added some top pieces to kind of give it that pointy, like the way trees peak at the tops. And I was just starting on this one. I see a spot right there. We need to get a little something in there. Let's see, the glue's... Oh, it's still a little wet, but... So I'll do that here in a second before that dries. I might even dab a little more fresh glue in there. But I just was finishing up in that. And then I've been spraying them a little bit to help them hold together with a little glue and water. I'll give them a spritz around, and that helps them all adhere together instead of them all relying on just what gets stuck on here. Because some of the pieces from the flock, from this, are kind of stuck together. And then all of a sudden they'll fall off, and that one might have been a cool piece. So if you give them a spray, that kind of helps them hold together. But that's where we're getting. I'm sorry this is taking so long, but so much things going on, privately here at home. And hopefully we can, that's starting to slow down, and I can start concentrating on getting this kit done. But I think the next time we come back, we're going to be doing washes on these guys. And that should be fun. Washes are always my, weathering and washing is always my kind of favorite thing. Because you're kind of pulling it into that realistic world. But so far on this, I'm very happy.